Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this how to play video I'm going to take a look at Resurrect Priest, or it's sometimes called Wall Priest as well, even though it's not quite as powerful as the Wall Priest in Rastakhan's Rumble used to be. The idea behind Resurrect Priest is that you have big minions, you have really big minions. Damage Stegotrons, Moshok Enforcers, Witchwood Grizzlies, just huge stuff, and then you're able to resurrect them with Katrina Muerte, with Mass Resurrection, and whenever some of that stuff happens to stick and you find some Divine Spirits, maybe some Powered Shields and an Inner Fire to go with that, then you just make a big minion and you punch the opponent in the face and boom, that's game. That is not always the only way to win a game, of course. Sometimes just having a bunch of stuff, like if you have a few 5-12 taunt minions on the board, you don't even necessarily need any buffs, they might just end the game right there. Or a Katrina Muerte that cannot be removed and it keeps summoning more stuff every turn. That also might just end the game right there. There are also some pretty sweet high roll opportunities with this deck, like if Katrina Muerte has died, it comes back from Mass Resurrection, it's going to summon more stuff. If gKXhwPYiQOClAOYmwOZmwMA has died, and you cast Mass Resurrection and you happen to hit an gKXhwPYiQOClAOYmwOZmwMA with that Mass Resurrection, then that gKXhwPYiQOClAOYmwOZmwMA is going to cast another Mass Resurrection, so that you get a lot of minions on the board. So in addition to that combo finish, there's also just simply overwhelming the opponent with huge numbers of minions. However, the deck is not without its issues. The most glaring issue is that because the deck lacks any small minions in order to ensure that the resurrects are good. There have been attempts to put stuff like Noteshire Clerics in the deck just to be able to draw more cards and more reliably get to your win conditions, but actually those are lowering your win rate. You really need good stuff to come from your resurrects. And that means that the early game of the deck is pretty abysmal. In this build I'm trying to shore up that early game by running 2 copies of Shadowword Pain, there's 2 copies of Forbidden Words, there's 2 copies of Holy Nova, and I really like running Convincing Infiltrators too. Silence is not that common and Convincing Infiltrator can block even big minions. With small minions not being an option, no clerics, no acolytes, that also means that the card draw is a bit of a problem for the deck. My solution so far is to run 2 copies of Powered Shield and 2 copies of Mass Dispel. One of the functions of Mass Dispel actually in this deck is that it cycles itself, it's a cantrip. So it draws you another card when you use it, and that function is surprisingly important as well. You're sometimes able to combine these with gKXhwPYiQOClAOYmwOZmwMA, like on turn 5 you can play Vargot Powered Shield. That would mean that Vargot casts another Powered Shield at the end of turn, so you get to draw 2 cards, even though that Powered Shield might of course hit an opponent's minion if there are any. Overall, there's lots of things that you can do with Vargot in this deck, and you really need to think carefully about that. It's going to cast one of the spells that you have cast on that turn, so Coin Vargot is usually not a great idea because it might just cast a coin. But other than that, you need to think about how you use this. Vargot with Seance, Vargot with Divine Spirit. Vargot with Shadowword Pain might also mean that Vargot ends up killing itself, so better be careful with that. But there are lots of good plays that you can do with Vargot, also like Vargot Holy Nova for 4 damage to the board and 4 healing for yours. Overall, Resurrect Priest is a reasonable deck. It's a deck that can win more than half of its games, it's a perfectly viable deck for climbing for example. But that slow early game makes it extremely susceptible to aggressive decks, especially Hunter is a miserable matchup. I have won some games against Hunter, but actually I just checked and the last 4 games that I played against Hunter were all losses by turn 6 at the latest, so yeah. That sort of stuff can definitely happen with this deck. And it's pretty tough to even tech against that. There are a couple of flexible slots in this deck. They are currently in this build, they are being used by Seance and 1 copy of Shadowword Pain. So there are options to run stuff like Shadowword Death, Divine Hymn, try to find a little bit more different types of answers. Depends on the meta that you're facing. Seance is mostly useful against warriors, though it has limited uses elsewhere as well. And Shadowword Pain is generally pretty useful, but it really depends. Like, you can Shadowword Pain a lot of stuff like Scavenging Hyenas, but then again sometimes they tend to grow up, and then you would need a death instead. So some difficult situations there. But matchups wise, Hunter is bad, Murloc Shaman is bad, everything else is at least okay. And overall that makes the deck a fairly reasonable deck, but if it's a heavy Hunter meta then I don't think it's even possible to take it to beat that. As for the mulligans with this deck, it really depends on what you're up against and what kind of answers do you need. I often keep stuff like Shadow Word Pain if I'm on the defense, sometimes stuff like Holy Nova, Convincing Infiltrator, Vargot can be a great keep, Mass Hysteria, Witchwood Grizzly. This your lower end of your curve, the minions, the removal pieces, those are typically what you're looking for. If I'm facing something like a warrior, I might go a little bit more greedy and keep something like Katrina Muerte or a Mass Resurrection in hand too. Just so that I can ensure that I will have enough value coming early enough before the warrior has time to draw all of the answers. If you enjoy this content, then please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more. And now, let's go take a look at Resurrect Priest in action. I'm keeping double Mass Resurrection against warrior. Let's see. I'd love to see you try the manipulators. Maybe I should. Town Crier every time. Every single time. Well, let's see. What kind of warrior? I have a Forbidden Word so that I can kill an Elec. Something like that. Just need to find a couple of good minions for the Mass Resurrects. What about cutting one Holy Nova? I like the Holy Novas. You mean put a Death instead of a Holy Nova? But I like Holy Nova. I still don't know if this is Control or Bomb. But he's going to have so much armor, and my Grizzly is going to be so very, very small. I still don't want to. I don't want to use the coin, but the Grizzly is going to be tiny. It's going to be very, very small. He's just going to armor up and do nothing. Almost guaranteed. This is going to be a control warrior, right? I'm still going to play the Grizzly here. It's a tiny Grizzly, easily killed with anything. I mean, typically you would Militia Commander this one down now. I think I'll know what is board here. Maybe I even go with the coin Moshog. Maybe keeping double Mass Resurrection was wrong. He be chilling. Let's coin the Moshog. Make him work a little bit to kill that. I believe he can. If I had double Divine Spirit and Inner Fire in hand, this would be a lethal threat. I don't. But if I did... Well, now he can Shield Slam it. Good use of the Dino-Medic. There's going to be brawls and stuff, of course. No Shield Slam. Curious. I'll just paint the Dino-Medic there. He obviously has some brawls. If I play a minion now, that will get 3 minions into the Mass Resurrection pool. I think playing the minion is fine. Let's do that. 3/3 Grizzly. That is a very, very tiny Grizzly. Another thing about this deck is that it just feels bad. I have won more games than I have lost.
What now?
Slam. Super Collider. Interesting cards. That's the second Divine Spirit. So I'd need an Inner Fire. Win more but feel bad. Oh dear. That Super Collider is going to be really good once I go with the Resurrects. He probably has a way to kill this now too. Then I will of course Resurrect, but... So that is a Shield Slammer, right? Absolutely. And there's the Inner Fire. Let's see if something sticks. I guess he can clear everything. I assume so. Brawl, Hero Power, Shield Slam. Or something. But for once I have actually drawn the combo. I'm actually threatening lethal for the first time. Okay. Moshok needs to win for me to have a good chance here. Moshok did not win, so he probably has a clear here. Even if it's just a Dino Medic. Still good.
That belongs in a museum.
So he's at 40 and I have 48. I might try with something like this. Then I have some insurance against some mechs. But we'll see. More likely to be Holy Rat Paladin, I suppose. And obviously I cannot answer the... Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Knife or a knife, I try to go for a combo kill at some point. Then I can kill myself. I don't want to paint the 1/1. Need to wait.
Got something to hide.
Dual Paladin, I don't think it is. I guess it could be, but I don't think it is. I'll probably kill that off, just to see what the secrets do. Yeah, +2 health isn't that useful if it's a Shadowed Death. I'm Shadowed Pain. There could of course be a Repentance. Well, I'm going to try to resurrect those minions anyway. Prismatic Lens. So it is Secret Mech, right? Oh, there's so many cards in hand. That's a little annoying. I'll still play the Grizzly. We also get to see if it's Repentance. It's not. I mean, that Prismatic Lens is there to tutor for Kangors. I just need to be careful about when I Mass Dispel. That is the key. Like, do I Mass Dispel now? That doesn't seem so great. He can trade this off Magnetized Celiacs on the 7/7. Try to hit face, see what happens. Okay. Guess we're playing the Stegotron. See what happens. One of the nicest moves with that deck is to hit first with the Whelp and then Magnetized Celiacs on the 7/7. You get a really sweet minion. Probably that's something that I would have to Mass Dispel. He could remove the 3/1 Grizzly, kill the Stegotron.
Unity, precision.
I'm surprised that he goes at it this way. That is generally not the move that you make. Now that could be a redemption, of course. If I Mass Dispel now, He loses the Celiax forever. But he will have other mechs too. So I'm still not sure if it's worth it to do it yet. Can't do Mass Dispel, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire next turn. There can be a redemption, so I kind of don't want to kill the minion. Kills my bear. I think I just need to play the Vargot out there and wait. Let's see about this. Try to get him to play more stuff that I can silence. There's no way that he kills the Whelp Celiax now. At least I don't think there is. I mean, some kind of equality play, of course, but I don't expect that. I was hoping for him to do more. Now he got the Skater bot. No, he got a Pyromancer. Okay. Does he have more mechs right there, right now? This would be up to 24 damage. If he runs Pyromancer, doesn't that mean that he runs Equality? Oh boy, that's scary stuff. Well, I want to Mass Dispel these anyway. If I Shadow Word Pain, it's going to cast another Shadow Word Pain. No, not necessarily, that's the Mass Dispel. Ah, I messed it up. Sorry about that. That was a weak turn from me. Because now he can just kill off the Vargot very easily. Yeah, that was not the way I should have played that. Didn't play around the secrets properly. I mean, he has Kangors. Currently there's only the Mechanical Whelp in the Kangors. But he can get more to it eventually. But I need to find a minion. I would really need to find a minion.
Reporting for duty.
That's a minion, but he has so many cards in hand.
What is a minion's
Well, there's a Moshog. Moshogs are good minions. So I think we'll leave it at this for the time being. Is this Undertaker Paladin? No, it's not. At least I don't think it is. I think this is just secret mech on Coco Sasa style. That's what I think this is. The upside is that both Desperate... He has used 2 copies of Desperate Measures and those did not give him an eye for an eye. So that's something. Unless that gives him an eye for an eye. It could also give him a Repentance. Is it Repentance? It is not Repentance. Okay. Is it eye for an eye? Do I want to Seance the Moshog Enforcer? So that will have another one next turn. With this hand I probably do, yes. And this one tries to hit face. We'll see if it succeeds or not. No, there's a Noble Sacrifice. But he has another Desperate Measures, and that can give him eye for an eye. Or it can give him another Noble Sacrifice. He's always going to play that this turn. Unless he has a big taunt. He has a big taunt. He has 2 big taunts. Well, that's rough. Yeah, I would have needed another Mass Dispel to get through these. But these are also coming back from the Kangors. Buffing this up and casting Mass Hysteria is not good enough. No, it's not good enough. 1 attack, 2 attack. Just 3 attacks, so they won't die. So therefore it's this. Because sometimes you can get a mass hysteria kill, but because of the divine shields and everything, those are just not going to die. And now he's of course looking for an eye. Or noble sacrifice. Probably something like that. Eye for an eye would be pretty good. He could put that down to 8 health. Then there's no lethal anyway.
Reporting for duty.
Now he can deal even more damage if he likes.
It's time to test your metal.
Ooh, Shervala too. Okay, well that's an impressive amount of damage already. Now he can kill the big one. Very well, very well. Mass Hysteria is not useful. Is Mass Resurrection useful? That's going to bring back Vargot. Not necessarily. I played quite a few minions here, so I don't know what it's going to bring back exactly. There can still be an eye for an eye. He probably has Kangors in hand. I mean, I have 2 copies of Mass Hysteria, of course. I think I'm going for the Mass Resurrection. I got the Vargot back. So I will get another couple of minions. He might have equality. There is now the Pyromancer right there. But there's also potential Mass Hysteria lethal with all the high health minions if he doesn't have equality. Because then Mass Hysteria could get through all the taunts, potentially. I guess it's unlikely to get through all the taunts though. Yeah, I might do more harm than good. Let's see what happens when I attack there. Nothing. What about when I attack with this one? So there's no redemption. It's eye for an eye. It's probably eye for an eye, right? Probably. Well, then I will just kill myself if it's an eye for an eye. So I'll just do it like this for now. Because he's almost guaranteed to have Kangors in hand. Without a Consecration, yeah, that's somewhat useful. So he didn't actually have Kangors in hand. That's interesting. But it is going to be an eye for an eye, right? Almost certainly, then the game could end in a draw. So, does this mean that I win? Hit there, heal this, play the buffs, Forbidden Words the egg. So I will hit here, 2, 4, 6, 7, yeah. Hit there, heal up, well, this one. Buff it up. Forbidden Words the egg. Hit face with a grizzly. Trigger the eye for an eye. And then hit face with the big minion. Maybe I can give it a try. We're playing some Priest. Now we lost our 100% win rate. I had 100% win rate with this decklist before that game. Counting games from yesterday and today. But now it's no longer 100%. So I guess the deck got a lot worse all of a sudden. Well, let's see about this rogue. He only kept one card. They all run gKXhwPYiQOClAOYmwOZmwMA nowadays, of course. No reason for me to paint that one. One problem might be that he is going to have so many cards in hand that my Grizzly is bad. Strange things to happen against aggro decks. Overall, Rogue should be... That wasn't even the top deck. I could have maybe cycled these powered shields for other minions. Here comes the spirit. So he wants a lot of lackeys. Okay. They're going to make my Grizzly very, very bad. Yeah, so many cards in hand. That's a problem. I can't get rid of that Spirit of the Shark anytime soon. I suppose I will have to mass dispel it, right? Do I need to also now cycle one powered shield? He just spent a Shadow Step, so he might not be able to Shadow Step this again. I think I need to cycle one powered shield here. And mass dispel the Shark. Having just spent a Shadow Step, it's unlikely that he could Shadow Step the Shark. So far so good. Okay, what else? Violet Haze. So if I holy over this board, then this one is going to be still a 4/4. If I leave him with lackeys on the board, he could play gKXhwPYiQOClAOY, but he has plenty of lackeys in hand anyway. So is it even a good plan to try to avoid that? That 8 cards in hand is really painful though. At some point I need to play a minion. I haven't played any minions yet. I mean, I have the Katrina for 8. So I have the option to play Grizzly this turn. Or I have to play it next turn if I don't play it now. But I can delay the gKXhwPYiQOClAOY turn with the Holy Nova. I think I just need to Holy Nova this. He's going to get to keep the 4/4 Crystal Stag. But I believe that was necessary. So that he can't gKXhwPYiQOClAOY yet. He will of course be able to do so at a later time. Head crack. Why do they always pick head crack? I don't even know. And in order to make Katrina Muerte good next turn, although he might have sap, but I have the health buffer at the moment. So this is one of those moments when I am still able to play a Witchwood Grizzly on this board. And I can cycle that. Maybe I have enough health buffer still. I mean, as long as he doesn't sap that. If he saps that, that's a problem. Or lackeys. He still has a couple of lackeys in hand. We'll see if my health is going to hold on. It will be difficult, but I will try. So much depends on how bursty his hand is. If his hand is very bursty, then he should just win. If his hand is low burst, then I have a lot of value in hand at the moment. So then I have a good chance. We're about to see how much burst there is. He just wants to keep head cracking and life drinkering. Down to 13 is a little bit scary. I have the option to clean up this board now. 12 damage on the board. I probably have to do that. I think I have to do it. Clean up this board. Try to go with Katrina next turn. But so much depends on how good of a development turn he has now. That's not much. So far this is not much. Down to 9. Scary times, obviously. This will resurrect the Grizzly. That card that he has had since the beginning, I'm really curious what that is. Does he have a sap in hand or something? That's another major question. I need to play the Katrina. That will resurrect the Grizzly. If he can handle the Grizzly, I suppose I will die. So far he has not given any indication of a sap. But he might have picked one up here. Is that really a sap? Well, at least it wasn't a sap. So there's the head crack again. Is there a lethal here? He has an Eviscerate left in the deck. He gets the head crack back. That's going to be a minimum of 6 damage next turn. Oh yeah, he picked up the sap, of course. Yeah, that's lethal. So between the head crack and the Eviscerate, there's going to be lethal next turn. He found it. But actually I found it too, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Strange how it goes. Unless your minions will carry. And in that case you don't need the death anyway. Not a whole lot of use for death. Pyro, so no double Seance. I don't think it's... I mean, it's very slow. It's like against warriors, basically. It hasn't been that awesome against anything else, so... No, I don't like double Seance. Most of the time it's just a card that doesn't do anything. Well, on the other hand, I am quite of a connoisseur of collecting cards that don't do anything into my hand at the moment.
To my side.
Yes, I do feel, I mean, if he has Dire Frenzy for that Huffer, I think that's game. That's probably game. He had Dire Frenzy for the Huffer. That's probably game. Painful things. To mass dispel these to at least stop them a little bit. Yeah, but I had 0 cards that could do anything about it. Double Dire Frenzy on Huffer. Well, that happens sometimes. Now I can track into one of those Huffers. And he wins next turn. Now, okay, if I had a Shadow Word Death here, I can see how that would have its uses. But as it stands,
It is finished.
that game was over fairly quickly. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.